So many of us, we go through changes, but we really don't know what's happening in our bodies. And no one's really talking about it. Please tell us, what is perimenopause?
You're an Indian woman and you're above 35, chances are you are in perimenopause. It's not optional. Everyone is going through it. The least I can say about it is that your hormones are erratic, chaotic, wild, and there is no predictability. I think people need to realize it's a transition phase which can last from 10 to 15 years.
Women know that perimenopause is not some kind of disease or like disorder, that it's the most natural transitional phase that each one of us is going through it. I think we're just finding sustainable ways to manage it well.
But if I had to talk about three basic things that women should do is
Hi guys, welcome back to Take 20. Today we're going to talk about perimenopause. I'll be honest, I hadn't heard of the term until a couple of years ago. We all know about menopause, happens to all women post 50. It's like a flip of a switch, period stops, maybe hot flashes, but we had so much more to learn about that. And perimenopause are the years leading up to menopause, where the actual changes happen. And I think that makes so much sense because so many of us, we go through changes, but we really don't know what's happening in our bodies. And no one's really talking about it. I mean, perimenopause is such a new term. So, I now empathize with a lot of women who have these sudden weight gains, fluctuations, this wired but exhausted, and sleep disturbances, so many symptoms that you don't know where did they just suddenly come from. Like this, you suddenly feel a lot different than you felt in your 20s. Right? And you don't know what to attribute it to. So please tell us, what is perimenopause?
There are times I have to break this to my clients because they have no idea.
Yeah,
and it's our first session.
I don't want to hear the word menopause already.
I have to be so careful.
You must.
Yeah.
Be with me as well. Because I know you're about to tell me that I'm going through perimenopause.
Well, I think we've established that.
I figured that out already and I wasn't ready for it. But yes.
So, but when I break it to these women, right, I have to, I show them 3 hormonal charts. Okay. The first chart and the third chart, I show them how there's so much predictability. The first chart is our menstruating years.
Right.
That's our gold standard. You can expect predictability there. We spoke about it in our first, episode where we spoke about estrogen goes up, then progesterone goes up. There's predictability, right? Then there's a third chart, which is menopause, post-menopause. All the hormones are almost flatline. Predictability. You know what to expect. Then comes this second chart. The least I can say about it is that your hormones are erratic, chaotic, wild, and there is no predictability.
Which and is this can begin in your early 30s, in your early 40s and late 30s as well.
If you're an Indian woman and you're above 35, chances are you are in perimenopause. But this is not the healthiest, and the most unhealthiest woman will also go through it. It's not optional. Everyone is going through it. Once you realize, and it doesn't make you old. You're not suddenly going to become old, because when I heard about it, I was resisting. I went to 3 different doctors in 2 different countries. They said, yes, but you are in perimenopause. The thing is, there's no test to confirm it. And what is basically happening is your ovaries are aging. They are becoming old, and they're saying, I'm going to eventually stop making estrogen and progesterone. So those start dipping.
Right.
When they start dipping, the follicular development does not happen. So we don't ovulate, and we have anovulatory cycles or irregular cycles.
We get our period, but they aren't.
We get our period. And when you're on perimenopause, you are still ovulating.
Okay.
But there could be some cycles where you don't, based on which phase of perimenopause you're in.
Right.
Right? But the eventual goal of your ovaries is, I'm shutting down. Your
shop.
time for having a baby is now over, basically. Right? That's what it is.
But how come a lot of women are having children now in their early 40s as well?
Yeah, of course. Because you're still in perimenopause, you can still have babies because you're ovulating.
Right.
It's not like the ovulation is not happening.
But the chances are a lot less, dramatically less.
We know this, but there are exceptions. And when I
Right.
say exceptions, women who are like healthier, they've taken care of themselves or whatever, they are getting pregnant, right? It's not like they're not. You still can get pregnant again, up until I've seen even 45.
Wow.
I had a client who at 41 wanted to freeze her eggs
Right.
because she was like, I'm maternal and I need to. At some point, I'll find a guy, so I want to freeze my eggs. So
And she froze it at 41.
41, very tough, very challenging.
Yes, very
but
challenging.
but she did, and we were
That's
successful, which is great. But
and
then
she had her
again,
baby at
oh no
40.
no no,
Okay.
she's not found a man yet.
Okay.
Because I think every single woman has this problem looking for the right man. But anyway, that's a different conversation. But perimenopause is not something you fear, but just know that if you start feeling old, that is going to happen. You will think that, oh shit, I'm going to get old now, and that's going to stress you out more.
Right.
And that is natural. Women will feel like their youth is threatened, So process it. Because I cried a lot.
You did?
I cried so much next to the gynac. I'm just crying. I'm like, no, what are you saying? She's like, within 6 months, your period is going to stop. She told me this 2.5 years ago.
And your period didn't stop?
No, it didn't. It didn't. But I had to really change a lot in my life, right?
Right.
I had to really look at my life with a very different lens and be like, okay, this is happening. What do I want to do?
What's the
'Cause-
earliest you've noticed someone going through
So it's
perimenopause?
really sad, but some really young girls, 30, 32, are now, because of their lifestyle that's so bad, I always tell them, you are behaving like a perimenopausal woman because your lifestyle is so bad. But if you rectify it, you will still have a good many years of your period
But
normal.
it is rectifiable.
Look, it's a natural transition phase. It's not something that is a disease.
No, but if you're going through it so early, which you shouldn't.
No, that is, if a 32-year-old is going for it, I'll first check what's happening with her lifestyle. And then I give her the narrative of, listen, it's sounding like you're in perimenopause, but you're not. You'll hit perimenopause around 35, 38, also based on genetics, right? What I will say, there's a lot of uncertainty. But if you are able to look at yourself with a lot of compassion, and if you put self-care in front, which is your food, not eating donuts because I feel like self-care is when you're
Yeah.
eating well, you're sleeping well, you're genuinely taking care of your food psychology, all of that stuff, the intensity of the symptoms can really minimize.
Right.
You can feel like, oh, I have my life back. I feel like I'm back in my own body.
I think I'm way in touch with my body than I ever was.
Yeah.
I think diet, lifestyle, therapy goes a long way in completely being in tune with your body. And it's a really beautiful thing to be
Yeah.
that in sync with your body. So like the moment I feel like I need rest, I give myself that rest, which I wasn't doing before.
Yeah.
Rest was for the weak.
Hmm,
I'll
for the
rest
weekend.
later.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but I think that I know how to work smarter now.
Yeah.
Yeah, not like destroying myself by working harder, but I've learned to work smarter. And I
Yeah.
think that this helps immensely.
See, again, this is why I keep going back to cycle syncing, because sometimes we do have control to decide when we want to travel for that work thing, which is really important. Do it during your ovulation.
Right,
When you have to socialize for whatever reason, do it during your follicular.
right.
If you can manage to, during your luteal, not stress yourself out, plan your schedule like that. It's possible. It's not going to happen 100%. Sometimes you just have to show up when you're on
Right.
your period also. I'm sure you've done that a lot during your movies, right?
Right,
Like you
right.
just do it when you
Right.
have to do it. But whenever you can, especially during perimenopause, show that compassion to yourself.
How does this phase affect metabolism?
I'm so glad you asked, because you know how many women say, I've changed nothing in my life,
Right.
but my weight has gone up.
Mhm.
There are so many reasons.
I know.
Number one, your estrogen is an anabolic hormone. Remember, she's queen bee. She builds muscle. Now, suddenly your ability to build muscle is not that much. The way you used to lift at the gym, you're not either able to lift that much, or even if you're lifting, you're not gaining that much muscle because estrogen is not supporting you that much. So your metabolic rate goes down. So if you haven't adjusted your calories, you will feel like, I hate saying the word calories, but if you have not adjusted your amount or the portions that you're eating or made tweaks in your
Mm.
diet, then you will feel like you're gaining weight without changing anything because your metabolic rate has gone down. Right? That's number one. Second, remember we said she's queen bee. So what she does is she most defines us as a woman. Now, in our early years, when we are fertile, extremely fertile, she will decide to put the fat mainly in your hips and your thighs,
Right.
because that's where you
Childbearing.
want. Exactly.
Mhm.
But during this time, there's a switch. Suddenly we become apple-shaped. Because when the fat goes here,
Mm.
it works as a protective mechanism. Suddenly, fat starts to behave like an endocrine organ and it gives you a little bit of estrogen and progesterone.
Oh, it's
Ovaries are not giving as much.
it's protecting now.
It's as a protective mechanism. So we have fat here, right? So suddenly we start feeling, why am I gaining weight here? You know, people say this, I never had this, and I used to feel like I never had these. Not anymore, thank God. But 2 years ago, this was. I'm like, I never had this. My body shape changed because of this estrogen switch. Now, when the fat comes here, what happens? We become insulin resistant,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So we can't metabolize carbs very well, which is why in your 20s, you can eat a samosa, you can eat burgers, you can have an
Absolutely.
all-nighter with alcohol. At 8 o'clock in the morning, you look like a supermodel because your carbs are metabolizing. But
Right.
now, because our progesterone, remember I told you she's the mother hormone, she's also has a mild diuretic effect. But now progesterone is down. So I don't have that slim feeling, right? And then when progesterone is going down, remember I told you about the oat axis?
Right.
Thyroid jumps in and your T3 hormone struggles. So again, your metabolism goes down. These are all reasons why we gain weight.
So how now? I know that the hormones are going out of whack
Yeah.
in this phase. So what can we do to support it?
I mean, there's a lot that we can do, right? I feel this can be very individualized again, based on what is happening to each person, right? Which phase they are in, etc. But if I had to talk about 3 basic things that women should do, is the pain points of any perimenopausal woman. First is, of course, insulin resistance. So be strategic with your carbs. This is your time. You have to.
Right.
If you feel like you're not able to, pop a berberine. I don't know, have you heard of berberine?
Yeah, berberine. Yeah.
Yeah. So berberine is as good as metformin. Now we know this.
Right.
There's enough studies on it.
Yes.
But there are 2 forms of berberine. There's HCl and DHB. So again, speak to your
For
doctor.
people who don't know about metformin regulates your
blood sugar levels, insulin levels.
Yes.
Works really well for.
So berberine is a natural version.
It's a herb.
It's a
It's
herb.
a Chinese medicine, Chinese herb, and it's been used forever. And it also works as an anti-aging hack. Also works as better for your cholesterol levels. A lot of things it does at one go. So berberine is not a bad idea, but you can't stay on HCl for too long.
HCl.
Berberine is an HCl form.
Okay.
That you can't stay for too long.
Right.
Right. So, but anyway, you need to speak to a health expert for this. We can go into details about it. But so number 1, strategic with carbs because of insulin resistance. Second, call it wane. But everyone who's perimenopausal worry about wrinkles or getting old. So please add collagen. Please add, for example, berberine. These are all anti-aging small hacks,
Right.
Add collagen as glycine as well. It'll help you with GABA as well. Lesser brain fog you'll have, all of this.
Right.
And I think the third thing would be progesterone mimickers. I would definitely add, if you're in a stage where you're really struggling with your progesterone, and you know this with your symptoms, then I would get people to add Vitex. It's it really saved me.
I think that adding a progesterone supplement should, I mean, I think there are some drops that you put on your hand and...
No. That is
What is that?
That's HRT, hormone replacement therapy.
Drops on not the injection. Yeah, creams. Yeah,
that's HR. That's different.
Okay.
And
does that help increase progesterone?
So, I mean, that is pure progesterone, but that is progestin. What our body needs is progesterone, and progestin are 2 different, and that's like taking a birth control pill, right? That's the same kind of logic. But bioidentical progesterone is what you can consider. I have this one bottle of the best brand, which is kept on my sink. I've still not started using it. It's organic, it's bioidentical, all of that stuff.
Right.
Because I'm like, let me wait. Am I still there? I'm not there yet.
Okay, right.
So it's still there, but I'm very curious what happens once I start using it.
Right.
But I feel I've still not hit the 3rd phase, so I'm still waiting it out. But yeah, I would definitely think about supporting progesterone.
Yeah, and sorry, the supplement you mentioned was
Vitex. It's chaste berry.
Chaste berry.
And if someone doesn't
berry.
Chaste berry. Now, if someone doesn't want to go so intense, and take this, you can also double down on B6 supplement.
Yeah, so you're talking about, without someone who's not going through some of the more intense symptoms, like
Yeah.
like the brain fog and the anxiety
Yeah.
and the fatigue,
Sleep.
sleep disturbances. Now, for someone who isn't going through all of these symptoms,
They just need to do
they just need to do
blood sugar balance.
right.
Strategic with carbs.
Right.
Figure out. Because when you balance your insulin, all of these other things would also get sort of balanced out.
Right. Now,
Yeah.
for someone who's going through some of these
Yeah.
intense
Yeah.
symptoms, say the weight gain, yes, I know, I
We spoke about the
understand
weight. Now
weight
some
gain.
brain fog maybe.
Yeah,
Brain fog
brain
is a
fog.
very big issue. Right?
Right.
Now, why is it a big issue?
Yeah.
Because the number one, our brain has estrogen receptors. Now, what happens with these estrogen? Imagine it's in our brain. People think estrogen is just here, but our
Right.
brain has estrogen receptors. So these estrogen receptors pick up the glucose in our brain. They fire it up into ATP. ATP is
The
energy,
energy
right?
currency. Okay.
That's how memory builds. That's how it becomes strong and quick. But now estrogen is only dipping. So the estrogen receptors can't act so quickly. And second, what happens is because estrogen is going down, remember I told you she's like Queen Bee, she's like Pooh. So she brings all her like girl gang around, right? So acetylcholine is another neurotransmitter which helps memory. But now if estrogen is going down, she's also like, okay, bye, I'm also leaving. So that's why we have this brain fog.
God.
Lastly, because we have insulin resistance, our blood glucose is fluctuating.
Right.
Suddenly our brain does not have a steady supply of glucose. So again, there's sluggish thinking. Because of all these reasons, we have brain fog.
Okay, so how do I fix this? I
So-
want to be like my cognitive function needs to be like A plus
yeah,
plus.
Yeah. So I think again, very simple things. Number one, starting your day because you want to balance your blood sugar. Start your day with a teaspoon of ghee, butter, coconut oil. Add turmeric root and pepper into this because they work as nootropics,
Right.
which will increase your brain cells. Your memory will get better. All of that. I love lion's mane and CoQ10.
I love lion's mane.
Lion's mane has really made a big difference, but I've also been having it for almost a year now. You want the
Okay.
fruiting body. You like when you get a powder, you want it to be from the fruiting body. That's when it's actually efficient.
Can I do the drops?
We'll have to see from where
Okay.
it is and all of
Okay,
that.
right,
Generally, the
okay.
powder works beautifully well.
Okay.
So you add half a teaspoon either to your coffee or licorice tea or whatever you want in the morning. Lion's mane, CoQ10, you're already taking it. A lot of people already take it as well. That works too.
Mhm.
These would be added. For sure, we spoke about creatine monohydrate as well, which is also a nootropic.
It's something I
that
should
would help.
add. Yes.
But a lot of people don't want these supplements, So for them, number one is start your day with ghee, coconut oil, butter, and add the turmeric root and pepper. That's easy. Everyone has it at home. But turmeric root, not that powder turmeric.
Yeah.
And then again, for brain fog, I would say that, these would be the basics. And second would be the acetylcholine. We want to step it up, right?
Right.
So you will have things like, stuff which has enough protein because that will go and step
Mhm.
up your acetylcholine because a neurotransmitter. So eggs or lentils, have that for breakfast. And again, stop this poha, dosa, upma story. This
Okay.
needs to really go.
Yeah. Okay. So, to be honest though, as I feel better than I ever have. Like,
Yeah.
I think even sharper. In fact, I struggle to put on weight.
Okay.
I don't know why. Also, my diet is extremely restrictive, right? An anti-inflammatory diet is extremely restrictive.
Yeah. And the food you're eating, right? Whatever
Right.
we've spoken about, that is one of the best type of things you can do for your gut. And your gut is where 80% of our immune cells are in our gut. So when we talk about autoimmunity or any of these things like Hashimoto's as well, your gut health is key.
Right.
And
We haven't really spoken about gut health
Yeah.
and its effect on
correct.
all of the.
So your gut has this microbiome called estrobolome.
Mhm.
Estrobolome is a microbiome that takes care of estrogen metabolism. It releases this enzyme called beta glucuronidase. And this enzyme, remember we spoke about use it and lose it?
Right.
So
Yeah.
your estrogen, to use it, beta glucuronidase comes and acts on it. So the metabolites are formed and then your body can use it. What I'm trying to say is that if your estrobolome is not good enough, like you don't have the right amount or like you don't have enough of it, then you are not going to do your estrogen metabolism properly. So
But how do I improve it?
You will have to add prebiotic fibers, probiotics, and I don't mean pills and stuff. Just eating a diet which has enough fiber,
Fermented food.
fermented food, eating. I think with the gut, just removing all your anti-inflammatory foods alone is a massive change. Within 24 hours, our microbiome starts to change. Within 24 hours.
Really?
You know, when you've cut out all of these things which are inflaming your gut.
Right.
Because your gut will not have the energy to do all the good things like protection and absorption of nutrients because it's fighting an inflammation battle. So once you remove the inflammatory foods, your gut is in a much better place. It's more resilient. It can do all the beautiful things like absorbing collagen and absorbing all the other nutrients like iron and vitamin D and all that, right? So it's really important to make sure that your gut health is key.
But I've also noticed one thing that, a few decades ago, women at 38 looked very different compared to women now in their late 30s, right? What do you think is I know they probably are looking after themselves better.
Of course.
Is that the only
Listen,
reason?
I mean, there could be so many reasons,
Awareness?
right? There's awareness. We are more.
Not having babies?
No, I don't know about that, to be honest. Look, I'm just not maternal. So I know it works for me to not have a baby because
You are maternal. You look after so many women.
Yeah, but you know, there's a difference. There's a difference when
Right.
you have like a baby. It's very different. And I've
Right.
seen women do it, and I know I'm just not that person. But I think aren't we as women all becoming the men we thought we would marry? Aren't we all becoming like that? You know, our moms didn't have that. You know, so we have a lot of like our self-worth, self-esteem is not struggling, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel that makes a very big difference in how you carry yourself and what happens and what goes on. What's the conversation we're having in our brain? We all have our bad days and we all have our bad moments, but it's very different from what it used to be.
So you think it comes from a lot more self-worth?
I mean, I really feel it's that because
I might
the fourth
have to
wave,
agree. Yeah.
the fourth wave of feminism is on, and I know social media has a massive role to play in this. But we're all realizing that these
When you say the fourth wave of feminism,
3 waves have happened, no, before this. Now it's our fourth wave where
Right.
like very gradually it's moved. And now we are talking about sexuality, we are talking about challenging religious beliefs, we are talking about cultural beliefs. We are thinking about, my mom said this, but why? My mom never thought about it when her mom told her, right?
Right.
Now we think about it. Why should I hide my pad in a textbook and go to like kids think like this now. So anyway, the point is that I think it's got to do with that. We're just becoming more, you know.
And there's only scope and room to improve. Like, it's important to keep having these conversations, right?
I think it's important to have these conversations, but till women don't treat themselves differently inside and change this narrative that I am weak or my period makes
What
me
can they
weak
do
or-
better, according to you? Like, I know you meet a lot of women every single day and they all come to you with their problems. What is like the most common problem that you think is stopping them from really feeling comfortable in their bodies and,
I'll tell you what, it's a little bit, maybe it's not a very popular opinion, but I see women who are struggling a lot are the ones who don't know what their core values are. We all have core values, right?
Mhm.
You know about this. Like, we don't, you're supposed to choose 2 to 3. 3 is also too much, they say. If you go for therapy and had this, whatever, your core values are really important. Most often, when we are not happy with our life and we are struggling, is because what we are doing and how we are behaving is not aligning with our core values. But the minute it's aligned, decision making becomes so simple. Because if I do these 3 things, if something I have to do, if it's aligning with this, the outcome will also be fine. But women, when I ask them this question, because when they are struggling, I'm like, okay, listen, what are your core values? But what does that mean? you know? So it's something to really think about. And this is not something like I had gone for 10 years ago, I went for a solo trip where we sat for like 6-8 hours in a group, all unfamiliar women from all over the world. And we had this 6-8 hour long session
Right.
on what are the core values. And your core values change every decade.
Hmm.
They will change because we are evolving as human beings, right? So it's very important to know those 2-3 things that are the most important to you. And once you know those, everything in life becomes easy. So if health is not your core value, you'll always be on and off diets. You'll always be on and off diets. I'm sure if you had to sit down, health would be one of your core values. You're doing
Absolutely.
this. You don't need to do this. You're doing this because it's your thing, you
Right.
know?
I finally feel aligned with my purpose.
Yeah.
Maybe I was always on someone's borrowed goals.
Yeah.
But I finally feel aligned with my purpose and I know what my goals are.
Yeah.
You
So you
know,
will suffer less. We
yeah,
all
I
have a
think
share of suffering.
more
But
often than not, we're always on, we always subscribe to others' ideas of success. And
yeah.
so I think that it is difficult to suddenly be asked and have an answer to, but what is your
Yeah.
idea
Yeah.
of happiness and what is your idea of success?
Yeah.
And
But these are questions we must ask ourselves,
right.
right? Because when we don't, that's when we get lost. That's when it's so easy to deviate.
Mhm.
But when you know yourself, because a lot of people tell me you have no social life. They tell me this all the time
Oh, I've been
as a
told that
bad
too.
thing. And I have no reason to fight it out with them because I'm like, but
That's a
this
choice that you,
works for me.
yeah, it works for
I
you.
don't have no FOMO. You know, I'm so okay with the life I've built and what I'm trying to do because I'm very sure of it. So it doesn't matter if somebody looks at me and says, oh, but there's no balance in your life. You're working all the time.
Right.
But that's my balance. Who are you to decide what is my balance, right?
So you're saying when there is a constant struggle between what you want for yourself and what others want of you, it ends up showing in your health. It is showing, it manifests itself in different ways. Shows
How,
up as symptoms.
because how annoying is conflict.
Right. And you're constantly in
Yeah.
conflict.
We just spoke about what we were talking right now, how you've given up on all of the things because it didn't align with you. But imagine if you had not given up, it would be a conflict, right? We just
And
spoke
your
about all
body
the-
knows.
Yeah, and your body always knows.
Right.
There's no escaping it.
So as part, like I keep asking you, food,
Hmm.
movement and supplements, but it's also therapy.
It's
It's
a
also
lot to
mental
do with
health. It's
your psychology.
yes.
What do you feel about yourself? What do you feel about the food you're eating in front of you? How do you feel when you show up in your intimate relationships? You know, who are you in front of your partner? You
Yeah.
know, are you being your authentic self? What is there's so much. And women struggle a lot when
be
they're in the
themselves.
wrong relationship.
Mhm.
So many times, and obviously my job is not to be a therapist, right? So I stay away from it. I'll ask, go for therapy, or I'll suggest.
Mhm.
But most often I've noticed their health is really bad when they are not in the right relationship. But now it's too late. Now they have children. Now they have, so what? And your husband will come for therapy? Husband will not come for therapy. So then what? So then I'm just like, let's work on what we have in our control, which is our food, our sleep, our lifestyle. We still have control, right? But
Yeah, I think that although I would encourage women to find their groups.
Yeah.
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 Where even like I see these small groups where I work out and they're really tight with each other.
That's
and
so
like
sweet.
I see them discussing their week,
Yeah.
the food, what supplements to take, and just it feels really nice that I see that these tight groups have been formed, and so
Yeah.
it is important
Yeah.
for your well-being.
It releases oxytocin. Tend and befriend. It's called. As women, we have the tendency to be to do this. It makes a very big difference when we are part of a community because we release oxytocin. We share. Men isolate,
Right.
but for us, it's different. It's important that we have these.
Yeah. So apart
Yeah.
from everything else, I think finding that little bit of finding good friendships
Yeah.
and social connections are equally important.
We
Right?
need 3 friends to run our life. 2 to 3 friends, good ones who know you, who you know. I think that's, at least I've come to this conclusion.
Right.
Low maintenance. Friends who don't need you to, they get you, right? Like they've been with you through the bad, through the ugly, through all of that. Those are the real friends, right?
Right.
And you need only 2, 3.
Like, remember, my friend was the one who messaged you
Yeah.
when I was going through that. She
Yeah.
messaged you asking for help, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You need those, right? That's all you need.
Yeah.
to run your life. You don't need like a big social, I mean, at least that's how I feel. Some people are very extroverted,
Yeah.
and that's different. But yeah, anyway.
Are we
Hmm.
missing anything when on perimenopause that you would like to highlight and bring to our notice?
I think maybe anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Anxiety and mood swings is a very big deal.
Right.
A lot of women feel anxious, right? Women do feel very anxious, and that's because we have this natural anti-anxiety system in our body.
Okay.
It's a natural anti-anxiety system. It's there for everybody. There's something called as allopregnanolone, which is a derivative of progesterone that gets secreted, and your brain has GABA receptors,
Mm-hmm.
so it combines, and you feel nicely relaxed and calm and easy. But then again, because we are going through perimenopause, progesterone is dipping. So there's less progesterone, there's less allopregnanolone. GABA receptors also, their sensitivity becomes less. And we don't have the girl gang. There's no dopamine. So
Mm-hmm.
there's no motivation.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll end up feeling anxious. We'll end up feeling like I don't have the coping mechanism.
Right.
Or people will say that I used to have the same type of problems earlier, but now they seem bigger to me.
Fair
So you
enough.
feel your coping mechanism is not there. So what people do is women get stuck in this insulin cortisol trap. Their cortisol will be high and their insulin will also be up. So this is a trap, and then there's too much caffeine and all of that happening. So anxiety is because of this particular reason. The way to solve it, of course, I think number one is definitely addressing your core values,
Mm-hmm.
because that'll align you a little bit. Eating high tyrosine foods, so dark chocolate.
What is tyrosine? Oh, dark.
Tyrosine will help with it'll help with the neurotransmitters. It's like food for dopamine, raw
Right.
material for dopamine. So eggs are amazing, dark chocolate, but of course 70% above is great. Almonds are great, things like that. Walking is amazing for anyone in perimenopause. When we are walking, what's happening? The eye movement is bilateral, right? Looking side to side. When this eye movement happens, both our right and left hemispheres of the brain start to work. And when this happens, we go in the rest and relax mode. You'll always notice when you're too wired, when people are too, I'm like, just go for a 30-minute walk. You'll feel better and come back.
Oh, wow.
Because of this reason. You go and rest and relax.
I didn't know the reason for it.
Also, amygdala. You know amygdala?
Yeah.
The lizard brain.
Yeah.
Lizard brain is like a survival
Yes.
brain.
Okay. Yeah.
So that lights up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And when you walk, the response of this also, it kind of shrinks. Not in the literal sense, but the response shrinks. So it won't be lit up that much. It won't wire you so much.
Right.
So I think walking would definitely be key. And then of course we've spoken about the supplements like lion's mane and things like that, which also like kind of relax
And
you.
also obviously meditation and
Meditation
breathing.
is- yeah, but you're somebody who just told me about your morning routine, which is so proper, but a lot of people just won't meditate and they can't even sit for like 1 minute, doing nothing. I think more than meditate, I've started to tell people, do nothing. Just
Right.
try doing nothing. That much is also good enough,
Mm-hmm.
where you're just sitting and doing nothing. Because the minute you say meditate, it becomes complex for them.
Really?
A lot of people feel like I have no time to meditate.
Okay.
So then I'm like, okay, fine.
I mean, even 11 minutes goes a long way if it's
Yeah.
consistent.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, but wow, that's a lot.
Mhm.
Well, yes. So now I know enough, but it's really important that women know that perimenopause is not some kind of disease or
Yeah.
like disorder, that it's
Yeah.
the most natural transitional phase that each one of us is going to going through it.
Yeah.
And I think we're just finding sustainable ways to manage it well,
Yeah.
right? Without making our body our enemy.
I think people need to realize it's a transition phase which can last from 10 to 15 years.
Oh, wow.
So if at 35 you realize whoever's watching, the last thing you want to do is scare them, right?
Mhm.
You have 10 years, maybe more, till you're
Yeah.
going to have your period. Just make
Right.
sure that it's not a stressful ride.
Thank you so much, Rashi. Actually, okay, this is like an incredibly important series. And I've been wanting to do a series on women's health because I've obviously been asked the most amount of questions relating to women's health. So I really hope that these 3 episodes were useful and that you learned something. I would really love to know what you have learned. So I will be reading all of the comments and going through questions, doubts, maybe even pass them on to you so that if there's anything that we missed and then anything vital and important that we missed, so I would be.
I'd love to.
Oh, that
I'll
would be
keep a lookout
lovely.
for it.
Lovely. Thank you.